Okay, so the next thing that you're going to maybe notice is, well, what about some of these curved tools here? Okay, these curves, something like this object, we're going to have to do in sort of several steps. And I think this is maybe one of the most complicated ones here. This looks like a propeller, or there's this sort of wacky shape here. And for this one, we are actually going to use we're gonna type in curve, okay? And this is I believe they call this a Bezier curve or a B-spline curve, okay? And the way it works is you'll note that you're actually creating sort of points around which the curve is going to take shape, okay? So maybe for this propeller, what I want to do is I'm actually going to start with a line, just a straight line, because this looks pretty straight to me. And I'm going to just make a line here. But we're going to make this in components, okay? And I'm just going to select that just so I can kind of see what's going on. Now I'm going to type in curve. And you'll note that this is where maybe Smart Track is not always the best thing, right? It's okay to turn Smart Track off because I noticed that this is bumping out just a little bit, and I want to make sure that I catch that. Now, the thing about your curve tool is that the default is set to 3 for degree, and that means that for that every 3 points will sort of adjust that curvature there. Okay, so it's kind of this curve is going through these 3 points that I've set. Okay, and if you make a mistake, you can always Control Z before sort of ending the curve. So maybe in this case, I'm trying to get this curve kind of right, and so it means that this reference point here needs to kind of go up a little bit more. Now you can try to be as fussy as you want, but the bottom line is the fewer points to describe a curve, the better. Okay? I'm just going to hit enter to accept because I know it's not perfect. I'm going to show you a technique now that we can sort of clean that curve up. So remember that if we just click on one curve, we can actually see all these points here, and we can actually click on one of these, and now we can use our gumball to adjust these curves. Okay, and there, that looks a lot better now. It's not perfect. Maybe I'll bring this one up and over. Not bad. Maybe that was a little too much, so I'm just going to bring that in a little bit. Okay, but that's pretty good now. And now I can do a polyline again. And I'm just going to snap to the end there. And oops, click down. Okay, and I'm holding shift again, remember? Okay. Now, this is where I want to turn my smart track back on. So I can come here and align things nicely. Right? Nice. Okay. And we would draw the curve around here again. So I'm going to get my curve tool, which is located over here. I can type it in. And I'm going to click at the end of that curve there. And I'm going to try to describe this curve with as few points as necessary. Okay, and then maybe just make a little adjustment. Whoops. Now, if you don't want to move your picture, I highly recommend actually locking it off over here in your Layers tab. And then that way you can actually select things without moving other things around. Okay, great. Now I'm just going to come back. I'm going to create another line. And you know, that doesn't really have the concavity that there's a slight concavity to this. So let's bring that curve tool back in again. Okay, and then any kind of areas that need cleaning up, you can do as needed. All right, good. Now again, what we want to do is we want to sort of select all those curves. A note on selection, if you click and drag from the left side over, it's only going to select the objects that are completely bound by your selection box. Conversely, if you drag from the right side over, it will select all the objects that the selection box is touching. So just to have a look at here, it's only selecting these because these were the only curves that were actually completely bound by this box here. But if I want to grab all of these, right to the left, there we go. Now let's run the join command. One closed curve. Great. All right, it's always important to remember to read up here to show you what kind of curve this is. If for whatever reason, let's just undo that. And I'm going to show you sometimes maybe not all the points are connected. Let's say that this one didn't quite make it. And sometimes it gets hard to see where the disconnect is, right? There's a couple things you can do. One is you can just select all these curves and you can go join, and it'll say 5 curves join into one open curve, which we don't want. We want a closed curve, in which case we might need to click on it. And sometimes if you click on it, you can actually see, like this double sort of curve instance, or double point instance here. And that's usually a good tell that, that's where the opening is. All right, in which case we can go in and we can actually just select that. And I'm just going to hit the move command and use my snaps to get it from here to here. All right, now if I run the join command, excuse me, I don't need to run the join command because by having moved that one point, it closed the curve automatically. See? So we actually don't need to run the join command. If there were 2 openings, then of course we'd have to run the join command again. But that's how we would do that. Okay?